If you think you're out of shape, he isn't. We have a guest tonight who's going to try and help us all do something about that. He's the winningest coach in football, and of course you'll know the name and you'll recognize the face, Layne Switzer of Oklahoma. Welcome to Montage, Coach.
Well, thank you, Joe. It's good to be back in Miami again.
First of all, let me ask, do you work out a lot?
No, I don't. I have never been a guy that has had to work out. I've always stayed within about 10 pounds of my playing weight that I played in college. I weigh about 205 pounds to 210 and played about that weight. And I guess it's the way I'm geared, the way I go about things, is been able to keep it that way. We've got a lot of coaches on our staff that they're guys that are physical nuts. You know, they go out and work every day. They run 2 or 3 miles. They go lift weights. They play basketball at noon. And I haven't had time to do it, Joe.
You know, this physical fitness thing is probably driving everybody crazy in this country because we all know most of us are out of shape. We all know that it's not healthy. We all know that we should change, but we don't. Why is it?
I'm going to tell you, you know that it would take 10 minutes a day. Now, a lot of people say they can't find 10 minutes. I'll guarantee you, you and I can find 10 minutes a day. I haven't yet, but I know that I could if we search for it.
Sure.
It takes 10 minutes a day of physical training, exercise, nothing hard that is punishing to the body, but if you rigidly do this, adhere to a schedule 10 minutes a day, everyone would be in great physical shape. And of course it means healthier, happier lives for a lot longer time.
Now this booklet, hold it up so they can see.
It's the booklet I'm describing and talking about is a booklet, as I said, the T Council and the Football Coaches Association have produced jointly, and it's, if you want it free, it is no charge, any number. I think anyone can write and order request as many as they want to 230 Park Avenue, New York, New York. The zip code is 10017, 230 Park Avenue, New York City, New York.
Okay, everything you always wanted to know about being in shape.
It's got weight training, it's got everything, isometrics, all the type of flexibility exercises, warm up, it demonstrates, tells you how to do it. If you're a non-athlete, most athletes know how to do these if you've done them one time or another, but it describes what to do.
How about college football? A lot of people say it's almost professional now. It's lost its sense of esprit that it once had. What do you think?
Oh, I agree with you. I think a lot of things have done it. I think the youth of our country today is changed a lot in the fact that we have seen so many young people have instant success in athletics today. Yeah. You see basketball, television's example. We're sitting here on TV and it gives us great exposure and visibility throughout the country, and our youth see young people today that are golfers, 18, 19-year-old kids that win $1 million playing golf. A Borg 19-year-old tennis player who is a millionaire at 19. You see a basketball player out of Florida who's 18 sign $1 million contracts, never played the day of college, so never done a day's work. Right. And we've really, in a sense, destroyed our values and have become professionally orientated. And today, I guess the dollar is a yardstick, and it always has been. I don't guess it'll ever change.
Well, that particularly puts an incredible pressure on you to have been so successful, to keep that edge, to keep winning. And don't you, I don't know, now we get into the Little League discussion of you shouldn't be on kids to win. But on the other hand, how do you teach them to compete if you don't teach them that to win is the point of competing?
Well, I think on the Little League level, I think the key is you touched on it right there at the last, is that it's all management and organization, the purpose and goals you set. And if winning is the first emphasis, then we lost it. You know, that if we've got to create attitude, desire, to competitive spirit, to excel, all these types of things should be the goal and purpose of your Little League programs where you're involving youth. And everyone should be given an equal opportunity. Every person, if you have 25 kids, all 25 kids ought to play equal. Now, there should be some basis for who starts the ball game, but that necessarily should not hold true all the time. And everyone should participate, and even though I've seen, and my young son is in what they call T-ball today. Yeah. And we're behind one run, and he's on the first team, and they're behind one run. It comes the fourth inning, he goes to the bench. The other guy plays, and that's the way it ought to be. And because winning is not that important. They'll learn about that later on.
Well, I talked to the coach, Ron Fraser, at the University of Miami baseball team, very successful team. And I've got a son, and he doesn't hit very well. And I said, what should I tell him? Because I don't know what to tell him. He said, don't tell him anything. He said, the worst damage you can do is parents to tell a kid, leave him with the
Right.
coach. Just let the coach handle him. And that flies in the face of what a lot of people say, the father should get out and work with his son.
No, I agree with the coach. I've stayed away from that myself. Now, unless my son comes ask me, hey, let's go out and play catch or something, then I'll become involved in it. But I don't say, hey, get your mitten, ball, and bat, let's go out. I want to coach you a while. And I think that probably be a mistake. And I agree with him.
Have you been able to make any correlation between a boy and his father, how active he was in sports, whether the boy is going to be a really outstanding athlete?
In a lot of cases that might be true, in a lot of cases it's not. So sometimes I've seen athletes that have great family histories of great sports personalities or accomplishments, and yet and their sons were too. I've got a great group at Oklahoma. We've been big on the family act. The Selman brothers had 3 brothers in a row, the 3 great All-American players, but I'm sure their father never played it down in football, Mr. Selman. But there are other families that the dad was an All-American. They ended up being All-Americans too. But I think this is coincidence more than anything. I think in other sports, as I mentioned earlier before the show, that golf is a sport where you see a young golf player, a really great young golfer today. He has probably been influenced by his father, who was probably a pretty good golfer or a pro, that was someone active and knew the game of golf and started his kid out at an early age. And that's what you have to do. But that's not necessarily true in football.
It would kind of seem to me that for a guy as successful as you are, the next obvious step is to go into the pros. And I've always thought that from a coach's standpoint, it'd be much more desirable because you wouldn't have to worry about the recruiting problems, the alumni problems. You'd have more money at your disposal. And since you already know how to win, I'm surprised you're not in the pros
Well, Joe,
already.
I tell you, a lot of reasons. That's why a lot of college coaches have gone to professional. They've tired of the college hassle and the way it is operated and run.
Don't you kind of feel less of a challenge now? You've hit the top. You've stayed there. Your next challenge is to do something else.
Stay there a little longer.
That's a challenge too.
Yeah, that's a challenge, you bet.
Well, now you've been offered pro jobs. haven't you?
I have not ever been offered a job. I've talked with a professional team a year ago about a job, but I have never been actually offered a position.
You didn't really seriously consider it?
No, I didn't. No, not at all.
So I guess you're in Oklahoma for a while to stay.
As long as they want me, I'll be
We ought to
there,
ship
Joe.
this tape back to Oklahoma. They'll be glad to hear that, I'm sure.
Well,
Listen,
they've heard me say that. I've got my own TV show and radio show, and I've told them, hey, don't run me off. I'll be around as long as you want me.
okay, great. Thank you very much for being with us,
It's great
Coach.
to be here and great to be in Miami again. I hope I'm back in January.
Well, glad to have you. We too. We'll be right back.